You are watching UBC TV News Tonight. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. Right about now at the Entebbe International Airport, President of the Republic of Botswana, President Mogwetsi Masisi, has arrived. Also, Central African Republic President Faustin Archange has touched down. We are still expecting a couple of heads of states that will be attending the 19th NERM Summit for Heads of State tomorrow. This afternoon, we also saw President of Kenya, William Ruto, arrive, President of Djibouti, the Vice President of Namibia, and the Prime Minister of Tanzania, all arriving. As of the evening, 1,026 delegates had arrived from 116 countries, and more are expected. That figure will be changing soon. You are watching News Tonight on UBC TV. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. This evening, we saw the seating of the 42nd extraordinary session of the IGAD Assembly of Heads of State. Now, IGAD is made up of 9 countries, including Kenya, Uganda, Somalia, South Sudan, Djibouti, Ethiopia, and Eritrea. Some of those heads of states were represented in the House. In that meeting, it was decided a communique will be shared later and assented to by the heads of state. But some of the critical issues that were discussed in that meeting were the Somalia-Ethiopia conflicts and South Sudan conflicts. We have the President Yoweri Museveni, speaking on that. Let's take a look at that.
If you look at our communique, we describe it as an unjust war. We freedom fighters pay a lot of attention to those words. When we were fighting for freedom, our anti-colonial wars were just wars, because we were fighting for justice, and we could not get it by any other means. I was sharing with their excellencies. If you take, for instance, the history of the ANC of South Africa, they were founded in 1912, but I don't think they adopted the armed struggle strategy until 1961. You can check. So for 50 years, they were using peaceful methods, petitions, demonstrations. It was only when the oppressor completely closed the possibilities of peaceful ways of doing things that the ANC declared war. But you have got wars, everything, every small thing is war, everything, war. This is ideological shallowness in our view. So therefore, in our discussion, we captured this, and we really think the parties involved must stop these unprincipled wars. We call these types of wars unprincipled wars. Now, on the issue of the Ethiopia and Somalia, again, we have support. You will hear what the communique is saying, the principle of the sovereignty of countries of Africa and of the world, I believe, and the inviolability of the borders. So, but it is all in the communique. So I just welcome you, and I wish you a good stay here. Thank you very much.
On sign language, we have Elizabeth Nakakoniai and Rhoda Ngonzi. Now, on the fourth day of the 19th NAM and G77 plus China Summit, the commercial wing of Entebbe International Airport saw a flurry of activity as almost 100 delegates from around the world touched down, arriving through a diverse array of aircraft. Let's take a look.
Day 4 of the NAM and G77 plus China summits here at the commercial wing of Entebbe International Airport could be one of the busiest days the commercial wing of Entebbe International Airport has seen this year. Over 100 delegates came in through various aircraft, with Emirates carrying a bulk of these passengers. Now, we're ably informed that about 5 high-level delegates jetted in on this aircraft, that is Emirates, and they were ushered out by the protocol team. Now, it is important to note that a number of events are still happening at Munyonyo, so the teams are still flowing in by the numbers. And this could be one of the most highly attended NAM summits in history. Now, to take you to some of the happenings here at Entebbe International Airport. Now, protocol has been strict. They've been ushered out of their aeroplanes, especially the high-level delegates, and they've been taken to the VVIP airport, where they have been ushered out by various ministers. Here at the commercial wing, they've been received by the protocol team and then ushered out to their respective places of accommodation. That's the update we have today, and I must say that it's a big up for the Civil Aviation Authority and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Wadulo Mark Arnold at Entebbe International Airport.
Now, we will keep you updated on more of what's coming out from the airport, or what has happened on the heads of states that have arrived from the airport. But for now, David Jamwa, the former managing director of NSSF, has been released from jail after being pardoned by the head of state. Jamwa had been serving a 12-year sentence on charges of causing financial loss to NSSF. As Ivan Kawa reports, Jamwa expressed gratitude to the president for his release and stated that justice has finally been realized.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni recently pardoned 13 prisoners serving sentences for causing financial loss, defilement and manslaughter. These individuals were granted forgiveness on public health and humanitarian grounds. Among those pardoned is former NSSF Managing Director David Chandi Jamwa, who has been released from Luzira prison on charges of causing financial loss. Tezira Jamwa, the former Member of Parliament for West Budama North County in the 6th Parliament, and David's mother was present at Luzira to receive her son. She was accompanied by David's excited son, expressing joy at his father's release.
David, I think he was innocent. That is what I can say. But finally, justice has been done. So we thank God.
You know, life has been difficult without him. He's such a presence in the family. He's such a family man. He puts a lot of emphasis on family and teaches us a lot of values that are important. So it has been extremely difficult growing without him, but even when he was there, he has still endeavored to be in our lives and present, and keeps giving his guiding hand over us. So
they recounted the moment they received the news of David Jamwa's release.
Found me in Nagongera, in my home. I was getting ready to come back to Kampala. Then I got a call from State House. and I was told that His Excellency the President had signed the prerogative of mercy, and the report had been sent to the Attorney General for further action.
It was surreal, truly surreal. It came obviously as a surprise, but good news always soothes you. And so once we found out that the prerogative had been exercised, we could only be grateful and appreciative.
Jamwa shared that justice has finally been accorded to him after serving a significant amount of time in prison, and expressed optimism about reconnecting with his family.
I lost so many relatives. I've got to mourn those, including a daughter. I've got to catch up with family, kids, friends, and tons of them were behind my release. And then getting back into the rat race and hopefully contributing to more development in Uganda.
Despite pleading not guilty to 2 counts, including abuse of office and causing financial loss, David Jamwa was convicted but acquitted of the abuse of office charge. According to Article 121(4) of the Constitution, the President has the power to pardon any person convicted of an offence, either free or subject to lawful conditions. The Anti-Corruption Court in 2011 convicted the former managing director.
And now we are receiving news that the Central African Republic President Faustin Touadera has arrived at Entebbe International Airport. President Faustin is a Central African Republic politician and academic who has been the president of the country since March 2016. He was previously the Prime Minister of the Central African Republic from 2008 to 2013, and in December 2015 to February 2016 presidential election, he was elected to the presidency in a second round of voting against Prime Minister Georges Delog. Let's take you to the airport. Okay, in relation to that, we've had a couple of heads of state from non-aligned movement countries jetting into the country to attend the 19th NAM and G77 Plus summits that are taking place at Speak Resort, Munyonyo. We followed these arrivals at Entebbe International Airport. Excuse me, in no particular order. Some of the presidents that have already arrived: South Sudan's President Salva Kiir, who was received by State Minister for Foreign Affairs John Mulimba, Also, the President of the Republic of Djibouti, this is the chair of IGAD, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, also arrived and was received by Uganda's State Minister in charge of Defense, Jacob Oboth. We've also had His Excellency Sheikh Hassan Mahmoud, the President of the Federal Republic of Somalia, who is also in the country. He was received by Minister for Defense and Veteran Affairs, Vincent Bamlangachi Sempija, and the Vice President of Cuba, His Excellency Salvador Valdez Mesa, also jetted into the country, and Prime Minister of Tanzania, His Excellency Kassim Majaliwa. President of Equatorial Guinea, Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasogo, was received by State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Okello Oryem, this afternoon. The second Vice President of Namibia, Dr. Nangolo Moumba, also arrived in the country and was received by the State Minister for Kampala, Kabuye Chofa Togabye. President of New Caledonia, Louis Mapu, was received by Minister for Lands, Judith Nabakova, and Her Excellency Mrs. Zalzka Judith, the President of Bosnia and Herzegovina, was also received by Minister for Lands, Judith Nabakova. The Speaker of the Council of Oman, Abdul Aziz bin Fahad Sayed, was received by Minister David Bahati. Executive Prime Minister, President of Bahamas, Honorable Philip Davis, was received by Minister for Lands, while the Executive Prime Minister for Nepal, Right Honorable Pushpa Kamal Daham, was received as well at International Airport Entebbe by Minister Esther Anyakun. A delegation of 40 members from Equatorial Guinea also jetted into the country. This evening we saw President of the Republic of Botswana, Mongwetsi Masasi, arrive, and Central African President Faustin Touadera. Meanwhile, the G77 plus China Third South Summit has opened in the capital Kampala with a call to set up the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals that have lagged behind due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking at the opening of the summit, the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Vincent Bajide, said it's imperative that the concerted efforts are made to scale up mobilization of resources in terms of financial capacity building and technology required to deliver the agenda and the SDGs, which is aimed at that are aimed at eradicating poverty.
One of the key priorities of our countries is acceleration of the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development with its 17 SDGs by 2030. The implementation is lagging, as we all know, partly on account of the COVID-19 pandemic and its impact. It is therefore imperative that the concerted efforts are made to scale up mobilization of resources in terms of financial, capacity building, and technology required to deliver the agenda and the SDGs, which mainly aim at eradicating poverty addressing climate change, and indeed leaving no one behind. The need to create opportunities for young people and harness their potential, as well as achieving gender equality, among others, is more important than ever. I wish to underscore that climate change and sustainable development are two sides of the same coin. As you are aware, the G77 has been at the forefront of calling for the successful implementation of the Paris Agreement on climate change and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. We must remain persistent in insisting that the international community lives up to its commitments while respecting the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities. As the G77 and China, we must continue to promote and reaffirm the need to respect national sovereignty and giving policy space to developing countries while implementing internationally agreed development goals. We recognize the importance of adopting science, technology, and innovation strategies as integral elements for achieving sustainable development. In this regard, we need to promote STI, innovation-driven development, and transfer of technology through South-to-South cooperation, while strengthening strategic partnerships with countries of the North on favorable terms. There is growing concern that the international financial architecture, especially the Bretton Woods institutions, is not equitable and responsive to financing the needs of developing countries. Therefore, the need to reform global financial institutions and architecture, addressing related issues such as debt management and giving greater voice to developing countries are very critical for our group. Against this background of the varied obstacles and challenges, we need to work collectively in partnership to reassert the value of global cooperation as we seek to build a more prosperous world for all. I welcome you once again to Uganda and encourage you to find time to explore this country beyond Kampala once the business of the summit is over. It is now my honor to declare this session of senior officials of the Group of 77 and China officially open and wish you very good deliberations. I thank you.
A su excelencia, el señor Vincent Waicha Baguire, por sus muy inspiradoras palabras. Excelencias, estimados colegas y amigos, para Cuba ha sido un honor asumir por primera vez la presidencia del Grupo de los 77 y China. Ha sido, además, una gran responsabilidad y reto que asumimos con toda la humildad, seriedad y el compromiso que requería. No hubiéramos podido realizar este empeño sin el activo respaldo y contribución de todos los miembros del grupo. En ese sentido,
Earlier in the day at the opening of the G77 Third South Summit. But now we head back to Entebbe International Airport. President Evariste Ndayishimiye of Burundi has arrived. He will be received, or is being received, by Minister for Gender, Labour, Betty Omongi. Let's take a look. Which he won with a large majority. President Evariste Ndayishimiye has arrived at International Airport Entebbe. He has been received by Gender and Labour Minister Betty Among. President Ndayishimiye has been in power as the president since 2020. That's the 18th of June. He was endorsed by the former president, Pierre Nkurunziza, as his successor ahead of the 2020 elections, which he won with a large majority. Now, a bit about his presidency. His 7-year term, which started on the 18th of June 2020, he announced his cabinet on the 28th of June 2020 and shrunk the cabinet ministers from 21 to 15, mainly nominated ex-regime hardliners to take up key positions. His tenure has been noted to have been less isolationist than the predecessors. President Evariste Ndayishimiye has arrived in the country, received by Gender and Labour Minister Betty Among. He will be attending tomorrow's summit, 19th Summit of Heads of State. It will take place at Speak Resort, Munyonyo. We will keep you updated as more delegates and more heads of states trickle in. Now, earlier on, our senior reporter Timothy Nyangweso had an in-depth analysis on a number of issues discussed by the Council of Ministers of Foreign Affairs to the NAM member states. Top on agenda is the adoption and domestication of the Kampala final document. Let's have the insight analysis on a number of issues discussed before the Kampala document is handed over to the Summit of Heads of States on Friday for approval.
Then we will see what to do. You cannot, mitigation cannot be on top when adaptation is ignored.
You spoke about debt, and it's one of the highlights of the 2,000 paragraphs there. With the appetite for debt in Africa, how are you going to be able to balance debt, loans, and also the global financing system that some of them are recommending to be changed? How are you going to do that, and is it possible?
The issue is every country borrows. Look at the United States. You either borrow internationally or domestically. But most developing countries borrow international, which is expensive. So the question is, you cannot avoid borrowing. Of course, each country has the right on how they balance debt issue, but the issue is on what terms are you borrowing. Also, you know about the Paris Club. The Paris Club is for lenders. What about the club for us who are developing and want cheap finance to finance our development? NAM might be that club where we bargain. You can imagine if 50 countries went to bargain for debt, they will listen to you as opposed to one.
Some of the suggestions I had yesterday was South Sudan. Have we finally got South Sudan over the rope to get the whole of Africa in the non-alignment?
Absolutely, absolutely. The ministers have recommended to the summit tomorrow, and South Sudan will be admitted tomorrow, the last African country to join the non-aligned movement, and that is huge in Kampala.
120 countries represented here, 2,000 paragraphs there. How is the implementation going to happen, and how is it going to be domesticated per each country there?
I mean, NAM and Group of 77 are not international organizations. They are loose organizations, forums where developing countries push their interests. So there is no institutionalization. We express solidarity with each other. We work together on the international scene. But also, bilaterally, there is what is called South-South cooperation. We cooperate, Uganda cooperates with Indonesia, we cooperate with Singapore on training, we cooperate even within Africa. So that is not institutionalized. Domestication implies that you're going, but Uganda has been very good on South-South cooperation. It's within our development, framework. So that's how we're going to do it.
How are you going to domesticate 2,000 paragraphs, especially for the context of Uganda? How are we going to do that so that it trickles down to everyone to understand that we're pushing in the same direction?
No, it's not going to be domesticated. This is a forum where developing countries come to express solidarity with each other, work together bilaterally. Here people are making interactions and networking. So that is the added value of such a meeting. It's not that this document is legally binding, that you should domesticate it. No, it's really to guide us on how we do business, on how we interact with each other in the spirit of solidarity and cooperation.
And I see that there is a lot of solidarity, cooperation. It is a guideline for especially NAM countries, how they desire to move forward. But let me ask the United Nations and the request to be able to have places on the UN security, both Africa, Latin America and Asia. Is that a possibility, and how will NAM front that at the UN?
The international governance architecture is very archaic. Look at the UN Security Council, 1945, not representative of the current reality. We've been calling it for its reform as NAM. We have a working group in NAM on Security Council reform. Not only the Security Council, but also the international financial institutions. So these global institutions are not fit for purpose. No wonder the Security Council now is irrelevant in the crisis in Gaza. It's the General Assembly. You know, let me tell you, we as UN members now, it is to our benefit that the UN is strong. If the UN is stronger, we are stronger as NAM and G77. So we need to reform it, that it's fit for purpose and stronger so that we can work within the UN context. If the UN is not strong, NAM is not strong.
Honorable Ambassador, when we look at especially the next 3 years, Uganda is going to be taking the chairmanship of NAM. What do you hope to achieve in these 3 years, that when we get to 2027 in Uzbekistan, we are able to say this is what we achieved and this is what we got from all this?
What we are going to achieve is to make NAM cohesive, more cohesive. We need to work together, avoid differences that will tear us apart, work together, we will maintain cohesion. Number two, we are going to attempt to change the work methods. You know, we don't need 2,000 paragraphs. You could make them shorter. We are going to appeal to member states because now this document came from Azerbaijan and it's adopted in Kampala. We will have the Uzbekistan document, but it will be done by Uganda. Under our chairmanship, we want to change work methods so that we are more efficient in the way we work. We have already started. Senior officials, 2 days before ministers' meeting, it's never happened. We have already delivered the document. They tested how our chairmanship is going to look like in the senior officials' meeting.
Ambassador, lastly but not least, I was looking at the map and it showed, especially on climate change, heat, drought, all these things going to happen. Does this document have posterity? Is it looking forward, like to look at things like catastrophes in case a pandemic comes? Is that sustainable?
Absolutely, we are looking at all that. You looked at the COP in Dubai, COP in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. You know, you're familiar with the Loss and Damage Fund. That is a key fund that has been advocated by developing countries through the G77. You know, Uganda, again, I've said it before, is the first country to chair both NAM and G77. G77 is very active in the negotiations in COP. We achieved a lot in Sharm el-Sheikh and in Dubai. Now the Loss and Damage Fund is going to be institutionalized and implemented under our chairmanship, and we will make sure that money is easy to access in the case of a catastrophe by member states. We're also looking at pandemics. Azerbaijan did well on COVID. They have set guidelines on how developing countries can develop vaccines, access medicine, and PEP when there is a pandemic.
This afternoon we jump into the G77 plus China there. What are your aspirations and what should we hope to be achievements at the end of it?
We're going to quickly adapt the outcome document. We're going to negotiate, but I'll make sure that the negotiations are as efficient as they were in NAM. Yes. And then we have an outcome document today ready for the summit on 21st. Any
sneak peeks you can give us in both documents that we can be able to look at and hold you accountable?
Everybody was watching the situation in Gaza. Everybody, how NAM, we have really expressed solidarity with the people of Palestine, that the situation is unattainable. We focused on the ceasefire, humanitarian assistance, but we avoided divisive language. The achievement is that we really encouraged the case of South Africa to go to the court so that the court can determine whether there is genocide or not. This forum is political, is not judicial. I was able to convince member states that we don't need to go there. And I think that was the greatest achievement. We will be respected as NAM. That we stood here, people thought it was going to be slogans, condemnation, accusations. No, we focused on the issues, which is people dying in Palestine, killings have to stop so that there is peace. The other issues I sideshow, they are important. Let's wait for the court. And South Africa has really done well by taking the lead. And within a week, we will know. Fasten your seatbelts. Once the court pronounces itself, NAM will pick it, and we will talk about it and implement it in the UN.
Lastly, Ambassador, when we look at conflict, what is causing the conflict globally, and will NAM be able to give guidelines on member states not to be able to interfere with the independence of others and the sovereignty?
Absolutely. When you look at the Kampala political declaration, we are talking about peaceful settlement of disputes. We are talking about non-interference in internal affairs of member states, and those are the principles of NAM that have kept it together, and we will continue pursuing them.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. We really appreciate your time here, and thank you for the documents and leading us well through this summit there. We hope to see you this afternoon in G77.
Thank you. Anytime.
So that was His Excellency Ambassador Adonia, and we have been discussing
of the set. International Airport. We apologize for the glitch over there, but that was the special representative of the President of the People's Republic of China, the Vice Premier of the State Council of China, His Excellency Liu Guzheng, representing President Xi Jinping. Now, Chinese government provides consistent political support to the G77 and has made financial contributions to the group since 1994. However, it does not consider itself a member. Vice Premier of the State Council of China, His Excellency Liu Guzheng, has arrived at International Airport Entebbe, received by Ugandan officials. He will be President Xi Jinping of China in the summit that will take place at Speak Resort Munyonyo, the 19th NAM Summit of Heads of State, where they will consider and approve the Kampala document. Burundian President Evariste Ndayishimiye as well as President of Botswana, President Mogwetsi Massassisi, and the Central African Republic President, President Faustin Touadera. More delegates continue to stream in. Over 100 delegates have arrived today. For the ongoing summits, the NAM 19th Summit and the G77 plus China Summits. And now I will hand over to Michael Jordan Lukomwa as he speaks to Engineer Luyimbazi David on the state of affairs in Kampala City during the 19th NAM and G77 Plus summits.
Engineer Luyimbazi David, who is going to tell us how prepared they are as a city that is hosting the whole world for all these days that they are when we are going to be having the non-aligned movement. On your screen still there is another dignitary coming in to be part of the summits that we are hosting in Uganda. In fact, we need to continue telling you that we are having the IGAD that sat today. We are having the non-aligned movement and the G77 that started this afternoon, as you heard Timothy Nyangweso there talking to Ambassador Ayebare. So we thank you so much for following, and we are still carrying the duty to continue keeping you updated with whatever information that you will need in as far as these summits are concerned. So we are going to talk to Ambassador, I beg your pardon, to Engineer Luyimbazi David Sali. He is the Deputy Executive Director of the Kampala Capital City Authority, because this is the city that the whole world is now looking at, because they are hosting the world here. Engineer, good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
We are so glad to have you.
Thank you for
As Kampala in general, how ready are you? How prepared did you go? How far did you go in as far as preparation is concerned to host the world as a city? Some parts of Wakiso are helping you, but you are in the lead.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for hosting me, and it's
welcome.
a pleasure to also be able to update the public on what we have been able to do in order to prepare the city and the country for this non-aligned movement summit. Well, under the stewardship of our executive director, we put up a task force which was responsible for preparing all the infrastructure that's necessary to give the country a good image. We've rehabilitated all the roads connecting Kampala to the convention center, because most of the guests are either living in Kampala or in Speak Resort Munyonyo or Latitude Zero Hotel. So all the roads from these hotels up to the convention center are almost pothole free, okay? Which was a litmus test, because previously all our roads were in very bad condition. We've been able to repair and rehabilitate about almost 20 kilometers of roads. We've been able to solve all the drainage problems at Soya and Autospa, which were frequent flooding black spots. We've been able to make sure that all illegal structures on the corridors leading out of Kampala to the convention summit are free or are decluttered, free of illegal structures. We've been able to plant trees along the corridor and landscape it. We've also been able to begin the installation of dustbins, litter bins for the first time in Kampala after a very long period of time. Okay. Of course, that is a work under progress. We've lit the streets in the central business district and on the corridors all the way to the conference center have been lit, have street lights right now. And of course, the public has also come in handy because the public has been given the responsibility to paint the buildings and also cover their frontages, either using concrete or tarmac or pavers. And by so doing, of course, the dust problem has been suppressed. So by and large, for all the infrastructure, about 95, 98% done. Okay. And we hope, I mean, you having a feel of the readiness of the city.
Okay. We have, the guest will not take it in bad faith, but normally we have littering and garbage mismanagement within our city.
Yes.
How are you managing this very common problem when we are having everybody from from over the world here?
Of course, the challenge is behavioral and mindset. People don't have this mindset of collecting the garbage and disposing it at locations where we collect the garbage from. So there is widespread littering that goes into our swamps, into wetlands, into our drainage channels. But what we're doing more is sensitizing the public. And part of the solution we're implementing now is the installation of litter bins. So people have no excuse to litter carelessly. Okay, so the litter spots are widespread all over the city. Okay. You don't have to look for where to litter. You find the garbage bin, the litter bin, and you dispose your garbage.
Then the collection of these litter bins.
We shall, depending on the demand and use, the collection frequency will be triggered or synchronized to respond to how quickly a litter bin fills up.
Let's talk about transport.
Yeah.
We start with the border industry. There was a story that you suspended some border stages.
Yes.
How true is this and how did you do it?
Of course, the issue
I want the Uganda there to understand in what spirit you brought it and how it is being implemented so that he or she doesn't get to be caught on the wrong side of their law or policy.
Of course, the spirit and reasoning behind kind of freezing border activity on mainly the NAM corridors and parts of the CBD arises from security perspective. Okay. Most of the border riders are not registered. They're unknowns. So the potential for criminal elements to cause a risk or potential danger to our guests is so high. So on most of all the corridors leading up to the NAM conference, which the guests are going to use, border activity has been frozen. And also where we have major government offices near Parliament, City Hall, Ministry of Finance, all those streets, we've ridded them of border activity, or at least border stages. You can ride through, but you cannot pick. You can drop, but you cannot pick a passenger. Okay. By so doing, security can be able to monitor and give adequate security to our guests.
Then our matatus, the 14-seaters.
The 14-seaters have not been affected as much as borders because we do have an organized system. We do know the operators, we do know the owners, and we have had a long dialogue with them. Okay. A much more mature relationship with the matatu owners or the matatu operators as compared to borders. Borders, we just only recently, probably about less than a year ago, been able to streamline the leadership, to have a single leadership group that assists us manage the border business. Yeah.
Going forward, we expect other guests. Shall we have you get into the panic mode to stop this, put this in order whenever we are hosting people, or you have some plans that are coming up with permanent solutions?
The plans are there because already we've decided we shall have only 445 stages, border stages in the city, in gazetted places, away from junctions, away from banks, away from major business activity, major places of business activity. They'll be off the roads so that they don't disrupt traffic flow. So these stages have been identified, and about a third of them have been gazetted already. We've used physical planners and engineers to be able to identify these stages. Okay. So once we finish the gazetting, then we shall be able to assign riders to these stages. Then we shall have a register of borders, who we shall then issue permits. Now, to issue a permit, of course, there are requirements you must be able to meet. You must have a national ID, you must have a driving permit, you should have a third-party insurance, you should have a public service vehicle license, and then after that you get an operating permit, and you'll have a unique ID in that you can be identified.
Okay.
Once we do that, even if we have guests, there will be no need to freeze border activity because we shall be knowing the actors. And the fact that with the Minister of Security is going to install transponders in each border, it will be very easy to know who's operating where and how. So in case of a security or infringement to on the laws, it's easy to know who was involved and easy to have the course of, the law take its course on them.
Okay. Everybody is talking about opportunities in as far as NAM, IGAD and all these summits are concerned.
Yes.
Opportunities. Have you grabbed anything as KCCA for the 3-4 million people that stay in your town here? In as far as these, what do you think after NAM you're proud of as KCCA and your people?
The benefits of NAM are very strategic. Money is not going to trickle into our pockets like immediately. Right now, Kampala is the epicenter of activity worldwide. Kampala is known everywhere. So it's very easy for somebody from Kampala to transact business with anyone because our address is known. The profile of the city is up there. Every major country knows about Kampala organizing and hosting the Non-Aligned Movement Summit together with a group of 77 South-South Summit. So that alone puts Kampala in a pivotal position to be able to negotiate, engage, and leverage itself to be able to access better opportunities, better facilities, even financing for the services we need to provide the citizens of Kampala. There are many other secondary benefits that come along it. Of course, tourism is a key anchor. With everyone knowing about Uganda, all our tourist sites will be known, so visitors will flock in. Kampala has the highest density of hotels in the country. The employment opportunities that will come along with that are also enormous. So the benefits are so many that, especially at national level, at city level, and also individual level. Recently, South Africa was trying to negotiate with that. We were negotiating with South Africa to remove the need for visas for Ugandans traveling to South Africa. Now, with this engagement of like-minded countries, maybe a number of countries will lift the need for visas for Ugandans, and Ugandans will reciprocate, making it easier for Ugandans to access opportunities and having trading opportunities with those countries. So, your imagination is your limit. Because this is like the door has been opened for Ugandans to a number of countries, especially those like-minded countries in the non-aligned movement, as well as those who are willing and ready to join us.
Okay. My very last one, you launched, is it you or UNRWA that launched the flyover?
It was UNRWA. UNRWA is implementing the flyover on behalf of Kampala Capital City Authority.
Okay. Do you still have more plans like that?
Definitely, there's a second stage. There's a second phase of the flyover, which will bring it all the way up to Garden City, and also connect to the roundabout near Serena. So that the second stage is coming, and of course we shall roll over other projects. We have another flyover we're planning in Bogolobi.
Okay.
So we have a number of flyover schemes that we are trying to plan. Some of them are coming in about 3, 4, 5 years time, with financing from UK Export Finance. So there are a number of opportunities to have flyovers in the city.
I'll get time and talk to you about your other programs.
Absolutely.
This moment has been only for NAM. What would be your message to Kampalans in as far as this season where we have thousands of very big guests is concerned, that they are here in their town? Your message to them.
Thank you. The message I have for Kampala is we have the biggest opportunity to sell our country and also sell ourselves in terms of opportunities that can uplift the economic well-being of the country and ourselves individually. We have an obligation and duty to present a decent picture and a good impression of the country. By so doing, we increase the profile of the city. Let's preserve the assets government has put up as a way of ensuring that government is able to provide other facilities rather than redoing works that have been destroyed by citizens. Examples are vandalizing of street lights, vandalizing of garbage bins, settling in wetlands or waterways. Those kind of activities take us back rather than help us. So I appeal to all Ugandans, let's work for Uganda. Let's have a country that serves us and a city that we enjoy, and we stop envying other cities. We can enjoy Kampala ourselves.
Thank you so much.
Please, thank you.
His name is Engineer Luyimbazi David Sali. He's the Deputy Executive Director, Kampala Capital City Authority. That is how ready they are. That's how they prepared to host thousands, hundreds of very high-profile guests here in their city. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa. Let's take a short break. On return, Rhoda Ngozi, my colleague, will continue with the news. Keep around.
Thank you so much.
Ino internet wenyukanga ekizungirizi ate kamera yayo lumamyo banange eryandaka ku buggo buno mugano gwennyini. Funa kabodi supakati ku nsimbi ezisaliddwako ng'otandika kusinyisa emitwalo 49 zokka osasule mpola mpola sinsi 833 buli lunaku. Weewangulira omugano gwa kabodi supa okuva ku MTN weefunire GB 2 eza data wa MTN buli mwezi okumala emyezi 8. Weegambulire kabodi supa katikati okuva ku dduuka lya MTN wonna mu ggwanga. Everywhere you go, MTN ekolera wansi w'amateeka ga UCC.
Tewakyali kubutukabutuka na kusiibwa. Kijjudde ebirungo by'obutonde okunyiriza ensusu zaffe.
Movit okwekakasa kw'olunaku lwonna.
Get value for your money by choosing the right paint. With Global Paints, you don't just paint, but paint for generations to come. Make Global Paints a paint of choice and make your building a paradise. We have weathercoat emulsion, undercoat emulsion, silk vinyl emulsion, flat emulsion, super gloss and high gloss. Global Paint, a reliable product.
Metu Bus Industries, Namamve, the manufacturers of buses for transporters, schools, tour operators, and special purpose vans and any customized vehicle. Metu Bus Industries offers a range of buses known for safety, comfort, and reliability. Depending on your needs, a bus can simply be a point A to point B people mover with just seats, or a special design that includes power outlet, Wi-Fi, television, refreshment center, and any other specification. Buy your buses from Metu and support industrialization of Uganda. Contact us on 0788 118586 or 0782 030303. Email us metuafricabus@gmail.com. Visit our website www.metubusafrica.com.
Kimanyiddwa buli 14 February omwaka gwonna ebeera Valentine eyaluna egenda kuba ndala nnyo. Tugenda kubeera mu Love Legends Valentine ne Victor Rose. ku Kingdom Kampala ng'abanakeerako okusasula bajja kusasula omutwalo gumu ate abalala emitwalo ebiri VIP emitwalo 5 abanakeerako okusasula emmeeza bajja kusasula kakadde ate wali ku mulyango $2,000,000 mujje twekuba love ku Kingdom Kampala ku Valentine's Day ne Victor Rose ne biwagirwa Star TV ne
UBC inspiring Uganda.
Irritations? No more rashes and irritations. Movit Herbal Jelly and Herbal Soap is rich in natural herbs for a smooth and glowing skin.
Movit all day confidence.
When it is KB o'clock, you need more from your voice bundles. That's why MTN is offering you more minutes across all networks that don't expire. Buy the new 90-minute Freedom Bundle at 5K or the 200-minute bundle at 10K and jazz with no limit. Katiteri ate, no excuses. Make the call now. Dial *100*21# or use the My MTN app and enjoy your Freedom Bundle today. MTN. Together, we are unstoppable. Terms and conditions apply. MTN is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Metu Bus Industries, Namamve, the manufacturers of buses for transporters, schools, tour operators, and special purpose vans and any customized vehicle. Metu Bus Industries offers a range of buses known for safety, comfort, and reliability. Depending on your needs, a bus can simply be a point A to point B people mover with just seats, or a special design that includes power outlet, Wi-Fi, television, refreshment center, and any other specification. Buy your buses from Metu and support industrialization of Uganda. Contact us on 0788 118586 or 0782 030303. Email us metuafricabus@gmail.com. Visit our website www.metubusafrica.com.
Start the new year in style with a variety of wine products from K Roma Uganda Limited. Bella Sweet Red Wine, Bella Pruko Wine, Bella Alta Wine, Bella Royal Dry Wine, Bella Passion Fruit Wine, Bella Hibiscus Juice, Bella Hibiscus Soft Drink, Bella Hibiscus Tea, among others. Available in all shops and supermarkets countrywide. K Roma Uganda Limited, the producers of Bella Wines, are located in Chirabulindo, Chira Municipality. For more information, call 0772 506 155 or 0704 161 398. Bella Wines, savor the test.
Amos Wekesa is a spirited and devoted advocate and champion for Uganda. His never-ending optimism, curiosity, and passion for all things Ugandan can be felt in every tweet and interaction. Amos also puts his money where his mouth is by investing in domestic tourism so that people get a feel of what Uganda has to offer. Amos, a grateful nation thanks you. You are unstoppable. MTN, the Unstoppable Network, celebrates you. Visit GreatLakesSafaris.com and together, let's support Ugandans like Amos who are driving our country's unstoppable progress.
Watching news tonight, Uganda and Cuba have signed a memorandum of understanding on trade cooperation. The MOU signed on the sidelines of the Non-Aligned Movement Summit by Vice President Jessica Alupo and His Excellency Salvador Antonio, the first Vice President of Cuba, seeks to boost the two countries' political and economic cooperation. The Vice President Jessica Lupo reaffirmed government's commitment to strengthen bilateral and multilateral cooperation in order to match the existing political cooperation.
Uganda is ready to strengthen bilateral and multilateral cooperation with Cuba on all issues and would wish to see trade issues taken up seriously to match our political cooperation. I would like to thank you, Your Excellency, for our meeting today on the sidelines of the two summits of both NAM and G77, and I hope that your visit to Uganda will be very memorable and that you find opportunity in the future to come back for a longer stay and see more of this beautiful country.
Productos que se puedan llevar de Uganda a Cuba con medicamentos y con productos cubanos.
This is an agreement of great importance and it will be, of course, concentrated with products and services that we know are necessary here in Uganda. In this way, we will be breaking the blockade imposed to Cuba, and it would also give the opportunity to Uganda to enter the Caribbean and the Latin American market with their products.
Cuba is a unique country to Uganda, and you've heard about this idea of barter trade, which is another way of doing trade with a friendly country, which is under the restrictions, as you heard, of the blockade.
Of course, Uganda is an agrarian country. What exactly are we going to share between the two countries?
Oh, we are going to share industrial goods, industrial machinery, agricultural implements, and the scientific, and especially in health, as you must have heard. And then, of course, this side of things is the Ugandan products that we have. You know, the bananas, the what, of which grow in this country, which they don't have on the other end.
And the Uganda police has updated the country on the policing operations during the Non-Aligned Movement Summit and other international summits being hosted in the country. The Deputy Police Spokesperson, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Claire Nabaka, confirms that there has been no major incident registered so far and commends the public for collaboration. Nabaka urges the public not to panic due to the increased deployments, however, calls for cooperation with officers, emphasizing that deployments are for a good cause.
As security, we are working in joint teams. We are working with our joint task teams to ensure that our visitors and the general public is safe and secure. As police, we have deployed both visible and invisible personnel, like you can see along the different, especially NAM routes. You are seeing so many officers there, and the worry has been that we are doing it only for the visitors. We would like to assure you that this deployment is for the NAM delegates, but our normal policing continues. We haven't vested all our capacities and capabilities for the NAM summit, but normal work, policing work still continues, because still you are going to the stations and you still find our officers there. So please do not worry that we are only focusing on the summit. We are also continuing to do our normal work. So with the NAM summit and the IGAD summit that are currently running, we are deploying right from the airport. We are deploying along the routes, the venue where these visitors or our delegates are residing. We have also deployed there. Yes.
Some communities.
So we are continuing to do traffic management. The traffic flow has not really been a problem like people had feared that probably we are going to be disrupted. No, we would like to thank the general public because they are complying with our guidelines. Where there are diversions, people are continuing to comply with that. So we do thank the general public for your support and being cooperative as the summit is ongoing. We would continue to employ you though to continue being patient and especially courteous to our visitors as they are moving from one point up to the other. We also have our teams continuously sensitizing people staying along those routes on what NAM is really about and what we stand to gain from this. So we do thank you for being cooperative and supportive of whatever programs are ongoing. For the last 4 days, since the NAM summit started, we haven't had any disruptions. We haven't had any notable incident that needs maybe any attention. Our delegates have been moving on well from one point up to another. But we would like to employ you though, if there is anything that needs, anything that may be suspicious, any person that is suspicious anywhere you are along the NAM route, the NAM summit route, or even in our communities, we do request that you report any of those incidences or activities that are suspicious.
And in a momentous occasion, the President of Bosnia and Herzegovina, Her Excellency Zalka Svifanovic, has today arrived in Uganda, welcomed by the State Minister for Lands, Dr. Sam Mayanja, and the esteemed Ambassador for Rome and Bosnia and Herzegovina, Elizabeth Lola Napayok.
The warmth and enthusiasm of the Ugandan people have left an indelible mark on the president, as expressed by the Dr. Sam Mayanja during interaction with the state minister.
And this is one of the countries, and as you can see, she's quite a young lady, and she's the president, and came with a big delegation. And you can see, Yugoslavia, you know, was one of the founding countries of now. So it is really, they have come home. This is their thing. They a product, everything here is a product. I'm impressed by the way we have received them. They can't believe it. And they don't want me to leave. I saw when the president arrived here, she could not believe what she's saying. She said, "My God," because as you saw, I was very close to her. And all the time she was saying, God, she has never seen anything like it. So the hospitality of Uganda has come out. In this very short time, we have been able to showcase the hospitality of Uganda.
The ambassadorial representation, epitomized by Elizabeth Laula Napayok, also conveyed her gratitude for Uganda's initiative to host these high-profile summits.
The expectations of every Ugandan is that we shall have improved relations with other nations that have come to be with us here, that we shall also have greater insights into what happens in NAM and G77. And for the people, normally we also expect some economic gains.
Uganda's decision to host the IGAD, NAM and G77 plus China summits has garnered global attention, drawing more than 100 countries into a dynamic exchange of ideas and collaboration.
A big training for the leadership of this country, for Uganda, to be reported in 120 countries, because all the major press houses, media houses in 120 countries today for this whole period must be reporting on where their head of state is.
Expectations is that it puts us in good light in the international community as well, to see that Uganda is really a positive country. It's a country that welcomes, which is happy, and a country that is well prepared for service and for serving the world.
As the President, Vijonavic immerses herself in the rich cultural tapestry of Uganda, the nation eagerly anticipates the outcomes of these pivotal summits, strengthening diplomatic ties and fostering international collaboration.
Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Mourning, and other legislators of the 11th Parliament have mourned and sympathized with the family of Dokolo woman MP Cecilia Ogwal, who succumbed to cancer this morning in India. The 77-year-old politician, businesswoman, management consultant, and certified accountant was described by fellow members of Parliament as a mother, mentor, role model, a voice for the voiceless, distinguished legislator, remarkable public figure, and so much more.
Of Parliament, Anita Mourning, in a press briefing at Parliament at midday, confirmed and announced to the country the passing of Dokolo woman MP Cecilia Ogwal, who passed away in India while undergoing medical treatment.
To officially announce to you the untimely and painful demise of Honorable Atim Ogwal Cecilia Barbara, the district woman member of Parliament of Dokolo, which occurred this morning in India, where she had been evacuated for a specialized medical care. Honorable Ogwal was a devout Christian who always put God first.
Known for her relentless advocacy and tireless service to her constituency, Ogwal's name became synonymous with dedication and commitment to public service. Ogwal's political journey began in 1996 when she first became a member of legislature, a position she has held until her untimely death.
The Parliament of Uganda and the nation at large has lost a patriot. Honorable Ogwal will be dearly missed by this Parliament of Uganda, and will be missed by the people of Uganda, and most especially people of Lango. We want personal condolence to the people of Lango and to all the women in Uganda whom she was proud of.
According to Kira Municipality MP Ibrahim Semujunganda, the opposition chief whip John Baptist Nambeshe and other MPs, Ogwal's contribution to Ugandan governance will be her lasting legacy.
The Honorable Cecilia Ogwal, we started this parliament when we were 32 FDC MPs. The Honorable Atan was removed through a court process and by-election. Now the Honorable Cecilia Ogwal has died, so we remain 30 FDC MPs. The Honorable Cecilia Ogwal came to be known as Iron Lady because she was very assertive and very forceful speaker, both in the parliament, in the seminars, on radio, on TV. 7th and 6th parliament, I think the best MPs in this parliament were from Rango, the Watchers, the Atubo, the Dr. Kurepak and Cecilia Ogwal. And few as they were, they sounded like they were more than the NRM MPs were in parliament.
She has been our institutional memory, seasoned politician, and one that I must say has mentored many, including myself. because as Chief Opposition Whip, she has been a predecessor, my predecessor, because she was earlier, I think, even served 2 terms, like I am. She has been Chief Opposition Whip, and I've been drawing from a wealth of high experience.
Almost all legislators agree that Ogwal's stand for a common good of Ugandans was never compromised, where some of them told us that Ogwal would point out government's excesses and would also point out where the opposition, where she belonged, lacked.
And I must even say, you know, she knew how to balance, how to work, for example, with the government. When Honorable Mpuga was handing over to Honorable Senyonyi, he gave a book called How to Hug the Porcupines. And indeed, the person who knew how to hug a porcupine was Honorable Cecilia Ogwal.
So we are going to miss her. She has died so soon at a time when we still needed her. And she was somebody who loved harmony. That is why whenever there was disjointedness, even within Parliament, she would intervene with a very calm voice. So we are going to miss her.
Representing the women of Dokolo district in Parliament from 2011 until her passing, Cecilia also served as a member of Pan-African Parliament from 2011 to 2016.
She has really been a mother to the women, a mother to this nation, and somebody whom we all look upon in all areas. Whether there is any problem, whether there is conflict in Lango, really, she has been a guiding personality to most of us as women, as members of Parliament, and development-oriented.
So it is very sad. This is somebody who, over the years, would put government on the spot. You know, she would insist on government accounting to not just Parliament, but to the people of Uganda, as it should be.
So for us as women, we have really lost an icon. Our hope as women, as Parliament, we have lost a great legislator.
Her fellow MPs also think that her passing has left a void in Ugandan politics. Shamim Naiga and Gloria Gwitabenje, Parliament.
Woman MP Cecilia Ogwal and the nation upon her death. She decried her as a nationalist and an advocate of women's rights.
Fellow Ugandans, on behalf of government, it is with profound shock that I have learned about the death of Honorable Cecilia Barbara Atim Ogwal, the Dokolo woman member of Parliament, that occurred today, Thursday, in India. She has been a seasoned legislator with diverse experience that we as a country or a nation shall miss. Indeed, her parliamentary contributions cannot be underestimated, and she served as an inspiration to many young politicians, more especially the girls. I worked with Cecilia in the 10th Parliament, when both of us were commissioners of Parliament, and we learned a lot from each other. She has been a friend. She has been to my constituents, and I have been to hers. She has been a nationalist who always fronted the country's interests first above any other political affiliations. Cecilia Ogwal was also a businesswoman and an advocate of women's rights. I commiserate with the deceased family, the President of the Republic of Uganda, the Vice President, the Speaker of Parliament, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, ministers, members of Parliament, friends, in-laws, and the people of Dokolo and the country at large for this huge loss.
May her soul rest in eternal peace.
And mourners this morning flocked to the home of the former Dokolo district woman member of parliament, Cecilia Ogwal in Bugolobi, after receiving news of her death in India. These including politicians referred to the former legislator as a political activist and a leader of integrity.
The Speaker of Parliament, Anita Mongo, accompanied by a group of parliamentarians, who was the first to visit the late Cecilia Ogwal's home to condole with the family, friends and relatives. Upon arrival, Speaker Mongo and members of Parliament engaged in a closed-door meeting with family members and relatives, which lasted for more than 30 minutes. Later, Among shared her memories about the fallen Iron Lady.
The way she would discuss issues concerning this country, we have really lost a role model in this country.
Members of the opposition group also mourned the late Cecilia Ogwal.
Of course, I condole with the family for the loss of the Honorable Cecilia. A very, very candid, straightforward nationalist, veteran legislator. I must state without contradiction that coming to Parliament, in the 9th Parliament, she mentored us a lot. Herself and the late Honorable Chanjo were the few seniors who had time for the juniors. Many senior MPs never give time to others, but she was always available to help, to support, to advise. She, without timidity, she would advise you, she would speak to you whether you want to hear what she says or not. We'll miss her candidness, her straightforward character, and her commitment, very committed. I see so many young MPs failing to attend Parliament, missing Parliament, failing to attend to basic business of Parliament. But an old lady like she was, who has been attending Parliament very regularly.
The political arena will greatly miss Honorable Cecilia Barbara Atim Ogwal, and notable among these is the former leader of opposition and Kasese district member of Parliament, Win Kiza.
To many of us, it came like a shock because Mama has really been moving. You know, she loved work. Mama has been working hard. We all refer to her as Mama, and the title suits her well. May Mama rest really well because she played her part as a citizen of the country, as a mother, as a wife, but most importantly, as a leader. Many of us, while growing up, we looked on to Cecilia Ogwal as a role model. Growing up as a young girl, I would see Cecilia talk and you would say, yes, this is a woman. And I kept saying, I really want to be like this woman. I'm glad she played a part, she played a role in my life, coming up as a young leader. And when I came to Parliament, she was among the first people who gave me counsel. She told me how to handle myself around Parliament. She took me through balancing work and family. And when I was having my wedding in 2009, Mama was there to speak to me. She told me words of wisdom and told me, Winnie, you should know that you are a leader. Your marriage is equally important. Leave your politics at the gate. Go and be a mother to your children and a wife to your husband.
Winnie Kiza recalled how vibrant and loving Cecilia Ogwal was to her country and religion.
Mama was a team builder. She was a peacemaker. And I remember one time we were going to Hungary together to represent the country. When we reached Hungary, when we were ready to go for the conference, then she sat me down and told me, Mama, I know you are a young girl who is an activist. I want to tell you that when you get into these conferences, we are Ugandans first. Let the flag of Uganda be raised high. In conferences, you speak about things that matter to the country, not our internal bickerings.
The untimely death of Cecilia Ogwal was known this morning, and she died at 77 years. UBC will continue to provide you with the funeral and burial arrangements. I'm Ivan Juko for UBC.
And the demise of Dokolo woman MP has left the community of Lango in great shock, as many did not know of her illness. Cecilia Ogwal was a significant political icon, and many looked up to her for guidance, her maturity and experience in leadership and Christianity, and the name Atat, literally translated as grandmother.
Let me do my job, and let them do their job. But whatever I have, I share with the vulnerable. Service delivery is on the shoulder of the president and his team. And we have been told that when you are a strong person and you are very fast in executing the agenda that God has given you, also be ready to go.
A dark cloud today covered the skies in Lango, something believed to signify death of an important person. Shortly, news came in indicating that a senior legislator representing the women of Dokolo had died. As it is always the norm, at her house in Russian quarters, Lira City relatives and friends gathered in somber mood to mourn her.
But I wish everybody good health.
Reports indicate she has been ill for about 2 weeks, but many say they did not know about the sickness.
It caught us all unaware, and even the weather in Lira seems to suggest that what has happened is a terrible tragedy.
When she was in Kampala, she was a legislator. But when she's here, she's a mother, she's a sister, she's a daughter, and she's a housewife.
Commonly referred to as Atat in Lango, Atim Ogwal was the Dokolo District Woman Member of Parliament, although she has been continuously a member of Uganda's legislature since 1996. Honorable Joy Atim Ogwal, who served with Ogwal in the 9th and 10th Parliament, described her as an encyclopedia from which most politicians learnt politics.
And if the house was derailing, she could stand up from her chair. The rule provides that you stand up and you catch the eye of the speaker. But for us, she would stand from her chair and move straight to the microphone. And if anybody's holding the microphone, you just leave way for her. That's the respect she earned. And she would guide the house.
Meanwhile, former chairperson Human Rights Commission, Joel Aliro Mara, described the late as a glue to UPC party after Bote was overthrown.
She held it together. And that evidence became clear when, after the fall of the UPC government, she remained in Uganda House and tried to hold the party together. And eventually, when she left, we began to see the collapse of the party.
Let us continue to pray.
Cecilia Ogwal, now the late, hailed from Ogora clan, one of the most blessed clans in Lango. At the time of her death, the clan was destined to enthrone the 6th clan chief, an event she greatly contributed to.
So this was her own function. So that is still difficult to answer, but as a clan, before the end of the day, close of the day, we shall come up with a position.
Ogwal has been representing the women of Dokolo District under the FDC ticket. At the time of her death, she was serving as a member of the Parliamentary Committee on Physical Infrastructure in charge of overseeing and covering policy matters relating to land, housing, urban development, works and transport, and physical planning. Ogwal was announced dead today from a hospital in India. At her residence in Lira City, meetings are ongoing to prepare for her decent send-off.
So several resolutions have been made. The organizing committee has been set.
And may her soul rest in peace. That does it for News Tonight. Thank you for sticking with us. Elizabeth Nakakoni on sign language. I am Rod Angonzi. We'll leave you with Prime Minister for Buganda Kingdom, Peter Maiga, speaking on the NAM and 19th NAM Summit, as well as the G77 summit. Now, as the Non-Aligned Movement Summit continues, Ugandans have been asked to support the arrangement because of many opportunities that come with such big events. However, the citizenry has been advised to strategically plan and prepare themselves for such benefits. Now, this was the message from the Katikkiro of Uganda, Charles Peter Maiga, in a chat with Michael Jordan Lukomwa, where he also highlighted the value of the rich history of the Pearl of Africa. We will leave you with that.
We have the opportunity to talk to Wechitibwa Katikkiro wa Buganda, Charles Peter Maiga, and we're going to look at the role of cultural institutions or kingdoms in a country like ours that is lucky to have kingdoms, I'll put it that way. So what are the role of these kingdoms in marketing the country and contribution towards such things? At a time like now, when we have the international community all looking at Uganda with the Non-Aligned Movement Summit that we are hosting. Owechitiba, we are so privileged to talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
TV. This is not the first time we are having you on our screens, but this opportunity to have an engagement with you is a golden one. What is your view about the non-aligned movement?
The non-aligned movement started years back when there was stiff rivalry between the Eastern Bloc and the Western Bloc. And, you know, when a number of African countries started getting independence, the United States and her allies, or the Western Bloc, was in competition with the Eastern Bloc or the Soviet Union to influence the new leadership that was coming up as African countries got independence. And they set up the non-aligned movement to ensure that countries focused on their own interests as opposed to being involved or being caught between the conflicts between the West and the East. Yeah, that's what I know about the non-aligned movement.
And it connects well. Yeah, you know, it's nice listening to a historian when he's giving facts like he was there. Now, as a leader in your capacity, how do you think we benefit from hosting over 100 countries with presidents, prime ministers, and ministers here? How do you think as a country this is of benefit to us or an opportunity?
Engagement is always beneficial. Countries need to engage other countries on a number of issues. And engagement brings exposure. And exposure brings opportunities, because when people get to know you, they realize the opportunities that exist in a country. And these opportunities could come in different forms. The opportunities could come in forms of tourism. People get to know about the country. Whenever somebody is going to a country they don't know, they try to find out areas of interest. Anyone who travels, when you go into another country, you want to find out areas of interest. And I'm sure many of the delegates have discovered the areas of interest. And that could be in the area of tourism. And tourism is a cash cow if we knew how to market what we have to offer. Then there could be investments. For example, if I were one of the delegates, I would have realized that Kampala, the capital city of Uganda, doesn't have a public transport system. It doesn't have a reliable, efficient, or organized public transport system. And there are lots of monies to be made from the public transport system if you plan effectively, if you plan properly and you implement effectively. That's an opportunity people could have realized. I'm sure every delegate has realized that Uganda has possibly the best weather in the world, with lush vegetation everywhere you look, with a mild temperature. There are lots of things that can arise from that. If you want to invest in agriculture, I think merely visiting Uganda for a week or two, it can, you know, trigger something in somebody's mind who is interested in investing in agriculture. Even if you are not coming here to cultivate any crops, to grow any crops, you can come to buy fruits. Uganda has the sweetest pineapple in the world. I've eaten pineapples all over the world. I've never once eaten a pineapple as tasty as ours, or even bananas, the yellow bananas, Bogoya and Indizi. I think Uganda has the sweetest bananas in the world, or even avocados. So there's so many things. So this engagement comes with opportunities, but also the people to learn about other people. That's the exposure bit. When you go to a country where people throw glances at you, you can become nervous. Do I want to be in this country? Do I want to business in this country? Do I want to come to this country for a holiday? But Ugandans have a way of dealing with the challenges we have, and they easily relate with strangers. That alone is an opportunity we have. So all in all, when you get delegates coming here, you get engagement with different people, you get exposure, and that exposure is going to bring opportunities.
Wow. We have hosted CHOGM, very big, other kind of events and occasions. Just a few weeks ago, we had the speakers of the Commonwealth. Now this one is here. Let's look at those ones that we have already hosted. Do you think we have really strategically yielded these opportunities? And where we have not, what could have been the barrier if anybody is having some work to do to clear these barriers so that we can achieve?
If we planned properly, if we implemented effectively, and if we efficiently did follow-ups, now that could be what is lacking. And that's what needs to be addressed.
Effective planning.
You must plan properly, you must implement effectively, and you must, you know, follow up efficiently. By the way, this has very little to do with visitors. This is the way you handle matters of administration. Anything you do,
normally and continuously.
Yeah, you must have a plan, you must have methods of implementing the plan, and you must evaluate the implementation of the plan. Those are the follow-ups. But, you know, opportunities don't land like the rain. You create circumstances which enable opportunities to come your way. If we want to get benefits from the conferences we are hosting, then we must prepare ourselves. It won't just come as rain.
As cultural institutions, do you think you have a role when it comes to marketing Uganda? And how can you play this role?
First of all, I would like to correct you. We are not a cultural institution. We are a kingdom. There is a very big difference, because there are people who do not have kingdoms. They also have cultural institutions. Some people have cultural unions. Other people have chiefdoms. Other people just have senior leaders. We are a kingdom. But it is a common mistake. I don't begrudge you. The kingdoms do have a role to play. First of all, Uganda exists because Buganda is, because Busoga is, because Bugisu is, because Lango is. Why? Because these are the authentic constituent parts that build Uganda. We all know that Buganda was here thousands of years back, as was Lango, as was Bunyoro.
Before Uganda came up.
Uganda is a fairly young country. I always refer to Uganda as a young country. It's just, you know, the borders were concretized in 1926. My father was 13 years of age, you know, at that time. But these entities that constitute Uganda have been here for thousands of years. Well, known history is about 800 years, 900 years. So they are the authentic constituent parts of the country. And I think we start by telling visitors about the history, the different histories of the different people of Uganda. They all have their different histories in Uganda. And you want to interest them to know how, for example, we in Buganda talk about the dynasty of Chintu, you know, which has had 36 kings and broken chain of leadership, spanning a period of about 900, almost 1,000 years. I think when you talk in that manner, you interest a visitor. Because what the delegates know about Uganda, I think, starts 1962, largely. But Uganda didn't start in 1962. Because Uganda are the people. I'm talking about the different people that constitute this country. The people in Bunyoro were there, you know, hundreds of years before 1962. So were the people of Buganda and Bugisu and everyone else. So you start by interesting the visitors in your history. I think that brings out the authenticity
of who we are.
Of who we are. I usually say that Uganda is like a peacock bird.
Why?
Because we are different, but when we bring the colors together, we get a beautiful bird called the peacock. The feathers have got different colors, but they all belong to one bird. So when you talk about the history of the Luos, when you talk about the history of the Baganda, when you talk about the history of Bunyoro Chitara Kingdom, for example, you're talking about the different colors, the different feathers
of one bird.
Of one bird.
Uganda.
Now the bird is Uganda. So Uganda is like the peacock bird. And if you want to interest a visitor into the country, I think you've got to talk about the heritages, the histories of the different people. And that's what brings us to us in Buganda as a kingdom. You tell the people about the kingdom of Buganda, which is, I think, you know, the cornerstone upon which Uganda was built. You know, people may want to know why there is a kingdom of Buganda and then you have the Republic of Uganda. The similarity in name, how does that come about? So all that history, I think, makes interesting conversation. If I was holding such conversation with visitors. And that's our role, to show that the heritages of the different people of Uganda are what are the elements upon which the country Uganda was built.
Have you played this role? Have you been given an opportunity to play this role?
Well, there was a time when the Commonwealth parliamentarians held a conference in Uganda.
Yes.
We were involved. They wrote to us, Parliament wrote to us.
That was the 10th Parliament.
I think it was the 10th Parliament. I think it was Miss Kadaga who was the Speaker of Parliament. And they wrote to us and they came here, the delegates came here, big event we organized for them, and we engaged them about, you know, all these issues. This time nobody has told us about anything. I read it in the papers. I read in the New Vision about the kingdoms. I read about it in the New Vision newspaper. But nobody has contacted us in that regard so that we participate.
They're watching this program. So the message is sent. Do these events, or do they have the capacity to trickle down to the problems of the common man? If we are hosting Chogam, Nam, in a few years we shall have AFCON in Uganda. Can we translate the opportunities of having them from a large scale? We have interviewed ministers and ambassadors. Everybody's talking about tourism, hotels, what? I'm talking about a local Sebbira Katumba in Chiboga, Dan Lugemwa down in Masindi. Can we translate the opportunities that come with NAM to that ordinary Ugandan? How?
It's possible. It all depends on how you plan.
Okay. It goes back to planning.
It goes back to planning. You must first of all identify the reasons you want this conference to address, and you must, you know, draw a roadmap. Because I'll give you an example. If I was in the planning committee, I would ensure that the delegates are taken to a typical village in the country.
Drive them deep to
Drive them deep in the village, some village, show them how Ugandans live. You tell them these people grow coffee. You show them how coffee is grown. Basically, in Uganda, we've got smallholders, 1 acre, 2 acres, 3 acres. Everything is organic because very few people use artificial fertilizers, even with coffee, you know? So this is the kind of coffee that the consumer in Europe is interested in. No artificial fertilizers, very few pesticides used. It is organic, it's good for the body. If you drove a delegate to a village where they grow coffee, you don't know the extent to which you've marketed Ugandan coffee. Because it is organic. And now that we are...
Take them straight to the farm.
Take them to the farmer. And because we talk to the farmers, the way they handle the coffee, now as we speak, they pick only ripe berries. They spread them out on tarpaulins or these mats woven from papyrus in the villages. They take care of the coffee because they know when you handle post-harvest properly, you get more money. And a delegate observes all these things. Ugandan coffee is likely to be on the market. It's going to be on high demand when they go back to their countries. And that way, if the coffee is on demand, of course, the farmer gets more money. You know?
That's how you are translating the big opportunities.
Absolutely.
Down to Andrew.
And I would tell the people in the village where the delegates are being driven to prepare fruits, jackfruit. I've eaten jackfruit in other countries, in Thailand and everywhere. No jackfruit compares to the Ugandan jackfruit. You tell them to prepare fruits to sell to these delegates, for example.
Well, there's a time I was interviewing when Uganda had an issue with Rwanda. So I interviewed an ambassador and I asked a question. Then somebody asked me, is it the journalist in you that has asked or the Ugandan in you? Now, in testing pineapple, and the Ugandan is the best. Jackfruit now, is it the tourist in you that tested or the Ugandan in you that tested these fruits and still the Ugandan?
I'm a patriot. I love this country. But I don't merely love it because I'm a Ugandan, but because I know that because of the soils that God endowed us with, our products, the crops, tend to be better than most crops in the world. For example, Ugandan bananas are the best in the world. Not only the sweet bananas, but even matoke and others. It's a fact. I think it depends on the kind of soils we have. So when I drive the delegates into a village, I tell them, prepare mats. Sell them mats. They'll be interested in buying the mats.
And expensive.
Expensively. They sell them different things. The gourds, which we use for mwengebigere, you know, and all or window for water. Prepare them. They'll buy them. You'll make yourself some money.
Keep them as souvenirs.
They'll keep them as souvenirs. So that's what I think I would do. And the ordinary people directly benefit. There is a direct benefit, like from selling maybe the crops, the fruits. I don't know. They may not because they're perishable, but they could buy them and take them to the hotels or whatever it is. But also, who knows what can arise from that? Who knows? Someone might be interested in pineapples from Chiboga or whatever, and eventually, you know, marketing starts and the ordinary person benefits. So I think the opportunities exist. Depends on how you strategically plan to take advantage of these opportunities.
Thank you so much, Owechitiibwa.
When it is KB o'clock, you need more from your voice bundles. That's why MTN is offering you more minutes across all networks that don't expire. Buy the new 90-minute Freedom Bundle at 5K or the 200-minute bundle at 10K and jazz with no limit. Katiteri ate, no excuses. Make the call now. Dial *100*21# or use the My MTN app and enjoy your Freedom Bundle today. MTN. Together, we are unstoppable. Terms and conditions apply. MTN is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Metu Bus Industries, Namamve, the manufacturers of buses for transporters, schools, tour operators, and special purpose vans and any customized vehicle. Metu Bus Industries offers a range of buses known for safety, comfort, and reliability. Depending on your needs, a bus can simply be a point A to point B people mover with just seats, or a special design that includes power outlet, Wi-Fi, television, refreshment center, and any other specification. Buy your buses from Metu and support industrialization of Uganda. Contact us on 0788 118586 or 0782 030303. Email us metuafricabus@gmail.com. Visit our website www.metubusafrica.com.
Start the new year in style with a variety of wine products from K Roma. Bella Sweet Red Wine, Bella Pruko Wine, Bella Alta Wine, Bella Royal Dry Wine, Bella Passion Fruit Wine, Bella Hibiscus Juice, Bella Hibiscus Soft Drink, Bella Hibiscus Tea, among others. Available in all shops and supermarkets countrywide. K Roma Uganda Limited, the producers of Bella Wines, are located in Chirabulindo, Chira Municipality. For more information, call 0772 506 155 or 0704 161 398. Bella Wines, savor the test.
The energy of this land was born in the hearts of these men, of these women. It comes to life in the power of these colors and the memory of these scents. The energy of this land comes from here. It comes from Africa, and it vibrates in each of us.
And powered by Africa.
Oryx Gas, powered by Africa.
Have you packed more with Harbour jelly and Harbour foam? Yes, we packed. It will protect your skin from skin rashes. More with pack. It is a new, improved more with Harbour jelly. So soft and smooth. It is a more with Harbour jelly.
Tell me, kids, the sense. Any irritations? No more rashes and irritations. Movit Herbal Jelly and Herbal Soap is rich in natural herbs for a smooth and glowing skin.
Movit All Day Confidence.
It's super fast internet. Oh, it's a super camera. It's a super battery.
Phone battery full.
Yeah, it's a super deal. Get the Capote Super from MTN now at a reduced initial deposit of only 49,000 shillings and pay the balance in Pola for as low as 833 shillings per day. Grab this Super Capote deal and get 2 GB of free MTN data every month for 8 months. Get the Capote Super now from any MTN shop countrywide. Everywhere you go, MTN. Regulated by UCC.
Get value for your money by choosing the right paint. With Global Paints, you don't just paint, but paint for generations to come. Make Global Paints a paint of choice and make your building a paradise. We have weather coat emulsion, undercoat emulsion, silk vinyl emulsion, flat emulsion, super gloss and high gloss. Global Paint, a reliable product.
The energy of this land was born in the hearts of these men, of these women. It comes to life in the power of these colors and the memory of these scents. The energy of this land comes from here. It comes from Africa, and it vibrates in each of us.
Empowered by Africa.
Oryx Gas, powered by Africa.
In the production process of Aquafina, we expertly filter every drop, providing clear and perfect tasting water to help you keep hydrated with the added benefit of minerals. Aquafina is bottled by Pepsi Cola International in Uganda and is available at only 1,000 shillings.
The energy of this land comes to life in dreams and memories. It lights up in these nights and leads us towards new horizons. It was born in the hearts of these men, of these women. The energy of this land comes from here. It comes from Africa, and it vibrates in each of us.
Empowered by Africa.
Oryx service stations, powered by Africa. The energy of this land comes to life in dreams and memories. It lights up in these nights and leads us to new horizons. It pushes us to go further and see bigger. The energy of this land comes from here. It comes from Africa, and it vibrates in each of us.
Empowered by Africa.
Oryx Lubricants, powered by Africa.
Well, welcome everyone to the biggest game on the continent.
And you have to. You've got to just seize those moments and enjoy them as much as you possibly can.